The Roughnecks, like the Renegades, are still searching for their first win of the season and their first game without a blocked punt. That's right, Houston is the only team in the league to have a punt blocked in all 3 games. In his first start for Houston, QB Reed Sinnett threw for 197 yards with a touchdown and an interception. The Houston rushing attack yielded just 57 yards on 20 rushes, while the defense saw the levee break in the third quarter when the Panthers scored 22 points, the most by any team in a single quarter this year. We've got to stop the pre-snap penalties and mistakes on offense, head coach C.J. Johnson said. We've got to get a little more out of our tight ends, and I didn't think our defense came to play at all. The Roughnecks committed 7 penalties for 43 yards and allowed 124 rushing yards on the ground, including 60 and 2 scores to Perry. Stallions wideout Deon Cain accounted for more receiving yards, 144, than Memphis QB Case Cookus threw 139 in Week 3. And that's not how Showboat's head coach John DeFilippo drew up his offense. By the third quarter of Saturday's tilt, Filippo was having conversations with Cookus about needing to protect him. Memphis's offensive line allowed 8 sacks. Filippo eventually pulled Cookus and put in backup QB Troy Williams, who finished 11 of 19 for 100 yards. The Showboats scored just 2 points in the second half. Their secondary averaged 18 yards per completion in the loss. After starting their season on a high note, the Showboats have now come up short in their past 2 games. It's just not good enough, DeFilippo said, and it's on all of us. Despite generating 419 total yards, running 25 more offensive plays than the defenders, a 290-yard passing performance from QB Luis Perez, and converting 13 of 18 third downs, Bob Stoops' squad couldn't get it done and dropped to 0-3. Adding insult to injury, 2 of Arlington's 3 losses have come at home. However, the Renegades are still just 2 wins from the second and final playoff spot in the XFL Conference. Arlington, which boasts the league's second-best scoring offense, needs its defense to come along. It has the UFL's worst scoring defense, allowing 83 points through Week 3. For perspective, Birmingham leads the league in scoring with 80. The defenders overcame a 10-point deficit with 2:08 left to play on Saturday to defeat the Arlington Renegades, 29-28, and improve above 500. Though the offense generated just 259 yards with the bulk of those coming on QB Jordan Ta'amu's arm, 11 of 24 for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defenders were 3 for 3 in the red zone on scoring opportunities. Kicker Matt McCrane made 3 field goals, including a 49-yarder with 4 seconds left to earn Reggie Barlow's club their second consecutive win. Up next, the defenders will face the best team in spring football, the Stallions, in Week 4, Saturday 7 p.m. ET on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The Brahmas succumbed to a dramatic comeback by the Battlehawks, their first loss of the year. QB Chase Garbers finished with just 158 passing yards after throwing for 287 yards in Week 2 against a stingy St. Louis defense. "We have to quit getting into situations where we have to come from behind like that," head coach Wade Phillips said. Still, Phillips took heart in having an opportunity to win in the final moments and credited his team for continuing to seek a victory until the game ended. With the loss, the Brahmas fell to second place in the XFL Conference via a tiebreaker with 3 teams. The Battlehawks defense fought off a late surge from the San Antonio Brahmas in their 31-24 win at the Alamodome on Sunday. With less than 2 minutes remaining in the game, St. Louis was forced to punt. The Brahmas scored 12 points in the final 48 seconds of regulation to win in Week 2. Against the Battlehawks, there would be no such late-game heroics. St. Louis, which was outgained in total yardage and passing yardage, grounded out a win on the road to move atop the XFL conference standings. "That's the biggest thing with our league," head coach Anthony Becht said. "You've got to finish and close the door when you get the opportunity to do that, and I'm glad our defense was able to do that." Quarterback A.J. McCarron completed 19 of 27 passes for 152 yards. Wideout Hakeem Butler caught 6 passes for 87 yards and a touchdown. After missing Week 2, running back Jacob Sailors made his presence known with a 19-yard rushing score in the fourth quarter that turned out to be the difference in the game. The Panthers looked like a playoff contender in their 34-20 win over the Houston Roughnecks on Sunday. After allowing 7 sacks and 12 QB hurries last week, the Panthers' offensive line kept Brown product E.J. Perry upright, allowing 0 sacks. Perry rewarded his offensive line with a 16 of 19 passing performance for 208 yards, with 3 total touchdowns to move the Panthers to 2-1 on the season. The 34 points scored by Michigan on Sunday is the most by any team this season. "Very pleased with the offense overall," head coach Mike Nolan said. "I thought EJ did an outstanding job in the football game. I thought our rushing game was really on target." The Stallions continued their march through spring football in search of their 3rd consecutive league championship, with a commanding 33-14 victory over the Memphis Showboats in their home opener on Saturday. Former Nebraska QB Adrian Martinez became the first 300-yard passer in UFL history, completing 18 of 38 passes for 344 yards in the win. Meanwhile, the Stallions' defense has become the best scoring defense in the league, allowing just 13.6 points per game through Week 3. John Chavis's squad has recorded 17.0 sacks this season, including 8 against the Showboats. Holtz said he didn't quite know if his offensive line was really bad or if his defensive line was really good during practices and at camp. But after back-to-back games of 7 sacks or more, he's fairly confident that his defensive line is decent. "I think our defensive line has a chance to be pretty good," he said. "I think we can play even better than what we did." The Stallions have won their past 10 games. The UFL only plays 10 regular season games and have not lost since May 13, 2023. The Stallions also rank number 1 in scoring margin at 139 points, a whopping 30 points ahead of number 2 Michigan at 9.